welcome back to GTD. That's Keegan, I'm Micah, and it's time for some Formula One talk today, coming off of the Miami GP. Keegan's got his sunglasses on. It was actually, as far as Miami races go, it was quite good.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. A lot of action. You obviously, what you've come to expect from Miami is, lap one, turn one, going to be great. After that, it's going to be okay. It was good throughout. You had some good battles. Now, a lot of that did stem from lap one, turn one, with Norris having to work back his way through the pack, and he did, and so that created some good storylines with him and Verstappen. You obviously had Piastri had to get by Verstappen, but yeah, I guess we'll just dive right into it. Piastri did win. He's beat Lando Norris again, continues to hold or grow his lead in the Drivers' Championship. McLaren has already won the Constructors' Championship. We don't need to talk about it ever again.
They're more than 100 points clear already on the Constructors, which is insane.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned Piastri, third win in a row. Becomes the fourth driver in the turbo hybrid era to win 3 races in a row, and the other 3, Hamilton, Rosberg, and Verstappen, all did it in their championship seasons. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Verstappen, he won. He pretty much won 20 races in a row.
But let's talk about the lap 1, turn 1 and 2 incident. And I want to hear your perspective on this first. Obviously, Lando Norris went off the road, was not very happy about it, came back on, almost took out the 2 Williamses. And how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think, and you kind of got this feeling just from the announcers' voices and the way they spoke about it, with it being, is it an outside turn? Is it an inside turn? How are they gonna rule this?
Also, the F1 announcers are very British biased.
Yeah, but
just watch races, and it's not. I don't think that's a revelation to anyone. They are.
But even with that being said, I'm with them. I think, if you're having to talk about, is it this kind of turn, this to this? If you're having to talk about all that crap to decide if it's should have happened or shouldn't have happened, it shouldn't have happened. I mean, it happened, and that's great, but he should. I think Verstappen should have gotten penalized. I think the rules need to be amended. Verstappen knows the rules. If you're allowed to use the rules, if you know them, that's fine. I think the rules need to be amended to where that's not allowed to happen, because it's not fun racing. It's not fun to watch. Like, if you're a fan of Norris and that happens, it sucks. And if that happened to Leclerc, you'd be sitting here saying the same. It would suck. Yeah. So the rules need to be changed, because it sucks to watch. Like, it's not fun racing. And then everyone, Verstappen goes, it's just how you race, and they get mad at Verstappen. Well, I mean, yes, he's right. It is how he can race, because it's part of the rules, but it's also not classy. In my opinion.
I think I was watching the P1 live stream along with this, and they said something I thought was really good, where they said it is not within the spirit of racing. That's not what we want to see as race fans, and I totally agree with that. Lando just was not given any room to race whatsoever.
Yeah.
However, if you look at the letter of the FIA rulebook, that is perfectly allowed, and you are absolutely allowed to do that, and Max Verstappen knows that. And if you're going up against Max Verstappen, who knows that, that's just what's going to happen. Do I agree that that's right? Not really. But do I appreciate the fact that Max knows that and will take advantage of it? Yes. So I don't think it deserves to be a penalty by the letter of the FIA law, which is what we're going by here. However, I think that if you want to actually get wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side racing, you need to change the rule book. So I think those two things can both be true at the same time, where I think Max did not deserve a penalty, but I also think you need to change the rules to where he would deserve a penalty in that instance.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I hope they do amend it to make the racing more fun.
But because of that, we got a great race. And at that point, it was Verstappen and Lando both trying to chase back down Max, and you got to the point where it's Piastri behind Max, and then Lando behind Piastri. Piastri took him a couple laps, eventually got by Max after the couple laps. Then Lando got behind Max and went, I don't know what to do!
Yeah, and then when he did get past him, he ran them both off the track and had to give up the position.
I actually did that to Piastri as well. When at turn 1, Max locked up and Piastri went off with him.
No, Piastri stayed on the track.
Did they not both go off too?
No, when Max locked up, they both stayed on the track. Max pretty much just came to a stop, and Piastri saw it. Piastri saw it and just cut in when he locked it.
Who was it that he ran wide at turn 1 then when he locked up?
They both ran wide, but no one was passed. Max ran wide, but Piastri couldn't get past him.
But he stayed ahead of Piastri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He ran Piastri wide too. So
yeah.
And also, Lando, when he got by Max, also completely shoved him off the track and had to give the position back. So,
Yeah.
my thing is, people are going to complain about the Turn 1 incident and saying, oh, Lando lost the race because of the way Max did that. Lando lost the race because he cannot pass Max Verstappen. And I don't know if he's in Lando's head or what, but it's the same car. Piastri got it done in 3 laps.
Okay,
By being decisive.
but to be fair,
No.
hold on. Piastri got past Max because Max had a major colossal lockup and forgot how to drive for 10 seconds. If that doesn't happen, who knows how long it takes Piastri to get by Max Verstappen.
Because Piastri's not doing the same thing over and over. Max can't just predict what Piastri's going to do. Whereas Norris did the exact same thing for 6 laps. And if Max knows what you're doing, he doesn't have to go crazy defensive. He doesn't have to dive like that.
And Max did know what the McLarens were doing because he just had to defend one off, and then he got past them. So now he had that in his head.
There's a difference between Piastri moving across the track, making different moves, attacking from different angles, versus Norris going, I'm only going up the inside at this corner, and if I can't get it done, I don't know what to do. And you can't be like that and get by Max Verstappen. Norris also isn't decisive enough on the brakes. You look at Piastri, he actually went for it. Norris feels like he gets the braking zone. He's like, I might think about it. And then he doesn't commit enough. He doesn't commit enough, and it cost him 9 seconds.
Well, I don't blame him for not committing, because if you commit with Max Verstappen,
hit him.
right?
If you wanted to not race him like that, hit him.
But if you do that to Max Verstappen, he's not going to let you get away without getting you back. So now you have 2 wrecked race cars and millions of dollars you're costing your team.
Good,
because
and Verstappen is going to race you differently in the future. Look at how
I don't
Max
think
Verstappen
he will.
Look, no, I promise you. Look at how Max Verstappen races Charles Leclerc, and look at how he races Oscar Piastri. He gives them room, and they race each other differently. That's because those are the 2 drivers who have been the best at, I'm just going to go after you, and if we crash, we crash. And Lando Norris does not do that, and so Max knows he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I do.
It goes back to, if you give Max Verstappen an inch, he's going to take a mile, and Lando Norris is giving him feet.
Well, in the history of these two, there has been times when Lando's been the guy to take it to Max, and it didn't change anything. So I don't blame Lando at all. I do think you're being a little harsh on Lando for the way he raced.
It's been over a year now of this, and Piastri comes in and he immediately is able to race Max. There is a difference between wanting to protect your car and being indecisive, and Lando Norris is indecisive. And then you ask him after the race, oh, what did you feel about that? And then he's complaining that Max ruined his own race, which, by the way, Max didn't. The safety cars would knock Max behind Norris.
I don't know.
Look at the time.
Lap
look
1,
at the
turn
timing
1.
of the virtual safety car.
I'm talking about in lap 1, turn 1.
I know. And Lando Norris is saying lap 1, turn 1 is the reason Max finished behind George Russell, which is objectively not true.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you would have seen a better battle between Lando and Piastri pretty much the entire race.
No, but Lando isn't saying Max ruined Lando's saying Max ruined Max's race with that move.
Oh, no, I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Lando's also complaining that the McLaren just isn't as fast. The McLaren's not the fastest car. It is.
Yeah.
You won over the next close car by half a minute.
Yeah, no.
Take some responsibility for your own actions, be decisive, and go after it. I do not care if Lando Norris crashes into Max Verstappen and he takes both of them out. I would rather see that happen at this point if you're a Lando fan, because at least Max Verstappen at that point knows Lando is willing to do that. Because if you never show Verstappen you're even willing to bang wheels, you're never going to make any progress. And I think that's where you look. The move where Lando Norris shoved both him and Verstappen off the track and had to give it back to Max. Look at the very next lap. Verstappen let him by.
Yeah.
So you have to be decisive. You have to show that you're willing to do that. And then you have to take responsibility for the moments where you're indecisive and don't do it. And he refuses to take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of it. It's a year and a half of, oh, it's everyone else's fault. It's everyone else's fault. Oh, these drivers are all getting lucky. Everyone's just lucky except me, and I'm so unlucky. Take responsibility.
Yeah, I do think Lando's actions outside of the race car have really diminished his view or the fans' perspective on him in the race car.
I'm not denying he's a great driver. I think you stick him out on a qualifying lap or in clean air by himself, he is obviously faster than Piastri in that situation. but he just can't figure out how to actually race.
Yeah, and I do agree with you taking it to Max. He is going to have to take it to Max a few times. And then if Max doesn't change it, then yeah, wreck his race car. Maybe wreck your own race car doing it. And I get in a fist fight on pit road. I don't care. But
just do something.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing the same thing forever and expect Max Verstappen to suddenly decide to respect you.
Yeah,
That's why he
I
respects
do
Lewis
think
Hamilton. That's why he respects Charles Leclerc. That's why he's starting to respect Oscar Piastri. It's because those 3 drivers actually go after him.
But I do think that a lot of people are misreading the McLaren situation, saying, "Oh, Piastri drove right by him and Max didn't." Verstappen had a major lockup, and I think that's really causing a divide between the 2 drivers. It takes the guy behind you for you to make a mistake.
Yeah.
But also, once Verstappen makes one mistake, the chances are he's not making another. I don't care if you have the freaking Hennessy Venom behind him. He's not making a mistake.
Look at how rarely Verstappen has been forced into a mistake by a driver. I don't think you can say, oh, well, he just made a mistake, and so that Oscar had nothing to do with that. I think...
No, 100%. The guy was looking in his mirror the whole time.
So give him credit for that.
No, I'm giving him credit. I'm just not taking credit away from Piastri's getting all the credit. I'm just saying a lot of people are saying Norris needs to be out of McLaren because he didn't make the move as quickly as Piastri.
Why does he need to be out of the McLaren? He's still a great driver.
Right, but the fans, not necessarily you, but just I've seen a lot of hate towards Lando Norris that's really getting on my nerves because it's like, okay, all right, they're not that different.
I don't hate Lando Norris, the driver, but it frustrates me that Lando Norris, out of the car, refuses to acknowledge he has the fastest car and refuses to take responsibility for the reasons he is finishing behind his teammate.
Okay. This is kind of funny because when Max Verstappen had the fastest car, he also refused to acknowledge he had the fastest car.
No, go back and watch the interviews. He said we're clear.
Yeah, but it was never like, oh, we're doing this because we have the fastest car. He did everything.
Lando Norris this weekend said they were about similar with Ferrari.
No, yes, I'm not. Yes, like I said earlier, the actions of Lando Norris outside the car are not where they're pretty abysmal right now, and they're not helping his case at all with anything. McLaren has the fastest car by miles. It's not even close to, I'd say Mercedes maybe second, but it's still not even close to Mercedes. However, there are other drivers.
Red Bull was dominant. I guarantee you there was no instance of Max saying, oh, Mercedes is close to us.
Not to that extent, but you specifically said that he was refusing to acknowledge. Well, all drivers refuse to acknowledge they're in the best car because
he really didn't.
It's just human nature, though. Like
he said if I was in the
fastest, but if I was in the fastest car and I knew it was the fastest car, I'd still try to avoid that talk as much as possible. So people were talking about my skills behind the wheel.
Yeah, but when they asked him, he did say he had the fastest car.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a big difference.
Maybe.
I just need to take responsibility. I don't just be decisive on the track, take responsibility off the track. You're gonna be a much better driver, I think and the frustrating part is too, it's wasted potential because I know how good Lando Norris can be. If you know how good Lando Norris can be, these instances frustrate me even more. But let's move on from McLaren.
Yep, back to Miami.
Yeah. Some more funny things. Let's talk about the Ferrari radio, where they kind of just swapped Hamilton and Leclerc back and forth for essentially no reason. Hamilton was faster than Leclerc on the mediums. Leclerc was on the hards. Hamilton, can I get through? Ferrari, well, think about it. Hamilton, go have a tea break then. First off, most annoyed British thing ever.
Yeah.
That is the most British way to go after that. So, eventually, they let Hamilton by. Meanwhile, that was not Leclerc ignoring team orders, by the way. That was Ferrari failing to communicate them because they're Ferrari. Later, Leclerc back up to the back of Hamilton. Ferrari, can you let Leclerc through? Hamilton, sure, waits a lap but does it anyway, and I don't care about waiting a lap because at that point, what's going to happen? He let him by. It's not a big deal. Then, Ferrari, Hamilton, you've got Sainz, 1.4 behind. Hamilton, would you like me to let him by as well? That was the funniest thing I have ever heard.
Yeah.
That I love it so much.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of this from Lewis Hamilton earlier this year. Kind of not having it with the Ferrari radio and strategy. Which, we kind of I kind of expected this. I'm like, okay, Hamilton's a veteran. He's got the wins to kind of, tell him to shoe. Like, he's not just going to sit there like Leclerc does sometimes. And even I think it's even rubbed off on Leclerc this year. You've seen him kind of be more snappy.
And I think that's where you look at when Carlos Sainz was at Ferrari. That's the area I think where Leclerc needs to improve the most is telling the team they're stupid.
Yeah.
Not necessarily saying it like that, but doing that kind of stuff. And Hamilton's great at it. Carlos Sainz is great at it. That's why Carlos Sainz, I think, would take advantage of Leclerc so often in those races when he was at Ferraris, because he was better at making his own strategy, whereas Leclerc wanted to follow the team. And speaking of Carlos Sainz, Williams this weekend.
They've been good all year.
Yeah.
They're really good all year.
They were the fourth fastest car this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think we, as a podcast, and the F1 fan base in general, owe Alex Albon an apology.
Yes, 100%.
Because that dude, I get Carlos Sainz has to adjust to the car, but Albon is wiping the floor with Sainz this season.
I think he's out qualified every time, but at least I know Sainz out qualified him once, maybe twice. But other than that.
And then you look at the championship right now, and Albon's sitting, I think, 20-something points clear of Sainz right now. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, I really have no words. I want to say it's all Albon.
He's 23 points clear of Sainz right now.
Yeah, and obviously the Williams you knew they were going to have a better year this year, because you're not going to go after Sainz and then not deliver with the car.
James Vowles has been a magician in his couple years.
So the car's been great. Albon's really loving the new car, I can tell you that. He's having a great time. He's above Kimi Antonelli in the standings, which he finished above Kimi Antonelli at Miami, which after the sprint race Kimi Antonelli put together, obviously the thing with Verstappen.
Ran him in the pits, which, by the way, not Verstappen's fault at all. The drivers don't control when they're released in F1.
Yeah. So very, very good run from Alex Albon.
Yes, massively impressed. Top 5. You love to see it. George Russell on the podium again, continues his top 5 streak in all the qualifying races this season. Yep. And quick little revisit to our predictions right quick. I went Piastri, Norris, Leclerc. That got me 3 points. Remember, we're doing 2 for the win and 1 for each of second and third.
Yep.
And then Keegan went for Norris, Russell, Verstappen, which looked like it was on at one point after qualifying, if maybe Russell could have got through, but Piastri ended up getting through quickly, and Norris did not win the race, so no points for Keegan once again. So I'm currently sitting on 7. Keegan's at 1. Keegan complains because I go chalk. I say it's just because I like Piastri a lot, but
yeah. No, I didn't think Piastri was going to continue what he was doing because both drivers in McLaren are very good, and McLaren's the car it was. I figured, okay, Norris would probably get his this weekend. And a lot of things happened that didn't happen. But yeah, Piastri very good right now. Yes.
This week, and then we head back over to Europe to start the European portion. It'll be Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix up first.
I love this race.
Yes.
Love this race.
This is a track where you can't pass, but it's just that fun to watch the cars go around. It's one of my favorite tracks. Should be great. Also, big rumors that Franco Colapinto will be replacing Jack Doohan for this race, which not confirmed at all, but rumors are huge right now. And so if that happens, I think that's very harsh on Jack Doohan. Yeah. I know he's crashed a couple times, but he out-qualified Gasly for this race.
Yeah.
And then got caught up in Liam Lawson doing his best missile impression into turn 1. So
he's had a lot of bad luck this year.
Yeah, he's had some dumb moments too, like Suzuka entering with a DRS open. Can't do that. But give him a chance, at least, I think. But that is it for F1 this week. And if you want to check out our NASCAR stuff, that'll be out on the channel already, as well as MLB from this week. But for now, this has been F1. This has been GTD. That's Keegan. I'm Micah, and we'll see y'all next week.